Okay, so we've gone through and printed out our subject images and data report and taken those to the school to verify that things are correct as far as how everything's set up. And there is one correction we need to make. If we go into the group wizard and select the classroom David Musgrave, well, you'll notice that David Musgrave is a woman, and her name is Karen Sanders. She is the teacher for this classroom now, so we need to swap out some data here very easily, and we can do this very easily. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and close out of this, and first thing I want to do is I'm going to change the group name of David Musgrave to Karen Sanders. So I'm going to edit that group name to Karen Sanders. Okay, let's go back into our group wizard and select Karen Sanders. So now we can see that that group name has been changed, and I need to now change the teacher field to say Karen Sanders. So I can come in here and select all and edit the field value for this particular group, teacher, and put in Karen Sanders, and all of that's been taken care of. So we've cleaned up the data prior to actually getting ready to place our order. So let's go ahead and go to Project, create Service Item Order, and we're going to go to the Composite tab and select the 8x10 Automated Class Composite. You'll notice how quickly that came up for me. One thing to keep in mind is if you have a very large project, the first time that you actually select that, there are going to be some background data validations being done as far as the minimum of 6 and the maximum of 50 subjects, checking that all the groups fit within that range. That's where you would get a warning, an indicator that, hey, you've got some groups that are either too small or too large for you to continue. Any case, let's go ahead and take a look at this dialog. Everything you need to work on to finish out the composites is basically right here in this particular dialog. Let's start at the top because there's quite a bit of things that are different. In this area here called Background Images and Quantities, you'll notice there's a group name field showing us the actual group names, the subject, number of subjects for each one of the groups, and the subject count that you see here reflects those extra 2 subjects in this case that are going to be applied to every composite. So it does reflect the total number, including your your numerically ranked, like the administrators. Okay, the text lines come in at 0, and they're all set with a color of red. You'll see how this changes when we actually start mapping text. It's a nice visual so that we can see if we mapped everything. The layout column tells us which one of the 5 layouts fits the range of subjects for this particular classroom. Okay, your background image area here, that is where the actual name of the background that's been selected for the layout will go once we've done that. And the quantity ordered actually matches the number of subjects initially. When you come into this dialog, it's going to default to the same quantity of subjects for the quantity ordered. If you're wanting to do 1 each as a proof, you come in here and just click this quantity 1 each button, and it will set all of the quantities to 1. If you need to order anything in between that, you can always come in and just kind of double click in that area and select however many you want for this one, that particular class or group. And then you can reset those quantities back to the default 1 each for every subject also. All right. You've got a help dialog here that you can click on that allows you to print a PDF of a kind of a quick start, so you can work through this dialog with a printed set of instructions, a 1-page set of instructions. And then there's a link to the video source page on our H&H website also, giving you the tutorials for the different things for automated composites. Okay, so let's do this. Oh, also, and you have a previous button to kind of move through these groups. Okay, so let's go ahead and start at the top. And we're going to go ahead and associate the background graphic or image for each one of the layouts for each one of the groups before we get into actually mapping some data. So with that selected, I'm going to come down here and click on Set Background Image. And I'm looking for a graphic that fits the layout of 15 to 22. And you've already seen the video on how we create the graphics with the different PSD guides for the 5 different layouts that are available for the 8x10 and 6x8 composites. So this range is 15 to 22, and I've saved my JPEG files with that number in it so that I would know which one it fits very easily. So click Open. And I'm prompted to apply that background to the other groups that are using that same layout, which is there's 4 of them. So in this case, I'm going to say yes, and it automatically will select those for me so I don't have to do it. I'll go to the one that's 23 to 35 and select that particular layout. And again, it's going to ask me, since there is another one that's using that layout, if I want to use that same graphic. You can actually go through and select a different background for every group if you wish. The other thing you could do is you can come in and select all of them and then apply one background to everything in one fell swoop. If you were just going to use like a straight blue background with no graphics on it whatsoever, you could do that too. Okay? I can come in here to view the composite layout with the gray area showing where the actual subject images will be placed. And I can do that for the different ones. Let's see, what 23 to 35. Okay, and the thing that worries me is that text is being black is not going to show up very well on this dark blue background. I'm going to come down here and select the white text, white font for my text. And let's look at that again. Now I can see it's going to be much more visible. And also here's my text line down at the bottom that I can use for those students not pictured. Okay, so all of my graphics are set. So let's go ahead and look at the next step would be to add per group or composite the names of the students not pictured. So that text line is down here just underneath. So I'm going to type in not pictured, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to copy that to the clipboard, and I can go ahead and type in some names here. Get my cursor in the right spot. Okay, so I can type in some names for that specific class. Go to the next one, and I'm going to go ahead and do that and get real creative with some names here. So you can see how you can go through and add those individuals that weren't photographed, that haven't been photographed, that need to be included on this particular composite, and you'll do that for each one of them as you go through there. All right, so once we've got all that set up, the next thing that we're going to look at is we're going to look at how we can map the text from the project to the different text lines on the actual composite itself. Remember, we've got our text lines right now set to 0 for all of the groups because we haven't done that yet. So I'm going to click on this one more time so I can get a visual of text line 1 is going to be my school name. Text line 2 is going to be for the year. I'm going to put the teacher name on 3. 4 is going to be used for grade, and 5 will be used for the principal's name. And then again down here is where those students not pictures going to be placed. So very simply here, I'm going to go ahead with the very first classroom selected. I'm going to select school name, then I'm going to select the year, then I'm going to select the teacher name, and you'll notice how my text lines are changing up here. It's gone from a 0 to 3. 2, 3, and 4 are going to be in yellow, indicating that you've mapped some of them but not all of them. When we actually get to 5, it'll be green. Now for the grade value was just set like as first, second, and I want to embellish that just a little bit, so I'm going to put in the word grade. I'm going to type that in, add a space, and then come over and map the grade value. And then on the last one here is going to be the principal. And the principal is, I don't remember the name, so we'll just type in Smith. Okay. So you'll see now on this one here in particular, I've got all 5 text lines mapped. Now, I really don't want to have to go through and do that for each one of these, okay? We've got it set up so that you can, if you need to get creative, if you need some different variations from classroom to classroom to classroom, you can do it that way, and I'll demonstrate that in a video a little bit later on. But I want to keep it simple, so I'm just going to hit Apply to All on every one of these, so the same mapping will be pulled from the project for each one of them. Okay, so that keeps it nice and simple. I don't have to do a whole lot of work as far as just basic text mapping. And I'll show you in some examples when we're done what these composites actually look like. I've got my text set as white. I'm going to order the ready to deliver envelopes banded by group, because I want each one put into an envelope for delivery purposes. And the crop I'm going to use is the print crop. Service item crop is really designed for like ID cards where you really need to get in closer on the faces, but just know based upon your needs you can use one or the other. In this case, my print crop is the appropriate one for me to use. I'm going to go ahead and click Save, and I'm ready to actually go through and create the order for this set of composites. I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick and then come back into the project, because I want to show you how the actual data has been saved, so that when you need to reorder from any of your composites, you don't have to try to remember everything that you set up prior to ordering the first round of composites. Okay, so I've placed an order for my composites, and I need to place a reorder for one of the classrooms, because they need some more for whatever reason. So I'm going to go into my group wizard, and the group that I need to order from is Karen Sanders. So I'm going to go ahead and select all of them, and I'm going to tag them, because I'm going to need to place an order from just those individual images. The other thing I have to keep in mind is I want to include, I just tagged the group images, the images in the group. I need to also tag the 2 administrators, so I'll come up here and select these 2 individuals and get them tagged. And then I can come in here and filter down to just the tagged images. And I'm going to go ahead and place a second order for my composites. So come up here and create service item order, and go to my composite tab. And what's really nice now is I'm only ordering from Karen Sanders. It remembers which one of the graphics that I used for it. It remembers all of the mapping that was done for the composite itself. Had I applied data as far as students not pictured, that information would be here too. The only thing that didn't get saved or doesn't get saved is what color the text is going to be, the packaging, and the crop that was used. And again, you're going to have to come in and select the quantity of composites that you want to order from it. So it's a nice way for you to be able to go back in and place secondary orders, and it keeps track of what requirements, what options were selected in the original order itself.